So I wasn't satisfied with my initial reaction analysis. As happens with a lot of reaction stuff, you tend to miss a lot because you're caught up in the moment. Now I have time to go through the trailer with a fine-tooth comb. This trailer seems to only contain footage mainly from around the first half of the season. One reason to keep more things a secret from anime-only people, but also too, probably a lot of those later episodes aren't done yet to show off in a trailer. We'll need trailer 2 to see the back half. But given how much of the filler content I thought might get cut in this season is now confirmed to be showing up, we got plenty to work with in terms of trying to re-guess the schedule. But let's get started with the breakdown. The trailer opens with actually a lot of new footage disguised as a recap. This alone throws my entire earlier prediction out the window in the opening seconds of the trailer, because with my assumption that they would want to jump right into Kurumi's intro, but instead it looks like they'll be using his name of Chapter 23 from the end of Volume 3 as an intro buffer to recap Season 1 of the characters and overall plot. But there isn't enough content in that chapter for a full 22-minute episode. And that, dear viewers, is where I believe I made my biggest mistake in my original video. I underestimated how quickly animation can go through compared to manga panels. So breaking each girlfriend's arc into 2 full episodes was probably stretching it a bit. I should have realized that when the entirety of the Hanazono Mansion arc of 9 chapters, almost the entirety of Volume 3, was condensed into 4 episodes, with even anime original content on the end. So it really can be just about anyone's guess on how long or short adaptations might be. But before we get to the predicting, let's run through the trailer one more time and see how many specific chapters we can point out. Also, another issue with my reaction was I assumed the montage showcasing the voice actors was reused footage, but no, it's all new. And seeing this is what made me realize I needed to do this full analysis. So first off, we start with this recap footage that would be in his name, right at the beginning with the narrator. Then onto the Hikari voice actor where we have footage that is clearly from his name. At first I thought this might have been from the extra story from the end of Volume 2 extras, but the inclusion of Hikari proves that wrong. Plus, this shot is a direct adaptation of this manga image, so it's definitely his name. The footage showing Karene's voice actor is pretty vague and could be from just about anywhere. After flipping through all the possible chapters again, my best guess could be this shot from Adventures of Pentaro, if they came up with another angle of Karene during this scene for the anime. But I'm leaning more towards it's a new shot during the Mei introduction chapter, particularly the scene where they're trying to get Mei to open her eyes, as we saw more of that scene later in the trailer. Shizuka's spot is also pretty vague, but given the fact it looks like she might have been crying, this could also be where she cried when she thought Nano stabbed Mei. The only thing making me doubt this though is Shizuka's clearly shown typing in her phone like she's going to say something, but in the manga she doesn't say anything. Another stretch could be where we see Shizuka crying from the bonus story where Mei gives her backstory, but once again Shizuka doesn't actually say anything. Lastly, we do have this shot of Shizuka crying when Iku is talking about the baseball club being disbanded, and unlike the other guesses, Shizuka actually does say something here. So this shot of her really is just up in the air. I could also just be completely off base and she isn't crying, but is just sweating nervously. And for that, I have no guesses. The Nano clip is even more vague than the last two. Could be literally from any time she talks, so I'm not even going to guess. Our only possible way of knowing is comparing what they are saying in these clips, but with an official English sub version of the trailer not existing and YouTube's auto subs being a hot mess, we have to rely on visuals at the moment and nothing else. This shot of Kusuri I originally thought was going to be from the baby chapter, but in that one she isn't holding a beaker, only a test tube. But going back to the His Name chapter, yeah, Kusuri definitely has a beaker from that experiment. Kinda makes me wonder if all of these shots are from His Name, but Shizuka doesn't sweat or cry in that one, or Karene doesn't make that face either. Ahari's face looks completely new here, I don't recognize it at all, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was from His Name or the baby chapter. Now, let's move on to the clips montage. We see an explosion which could be for either the body swap or the baby chapters. Also, this explosion is a lot rounder and fluffier than the manga counterparts. A quick montage of the season's new girlfriends, which are all straight from their introduction chapters, no need to investigate there. Next, we get a quick sliding shot of everyone on the roof enjoying lunch, which this is straight from Mei's introduction, though the perspective is slightly different, with the manga making it more like everyone is in a circle, where in the anime, looks more like a straight line. We then get a quick almost kiss from Karene and Hikari throwing Karene off, which also comes straight from the Mei introduction chapter. Next up is the end of Iku's introduction chapter where she confesses to Rentaro and gets rejected, only to be immediately accepted, followed by 2 other quick shots of Rentaro's mouth, one still being from the Iku confession, but the other is so very vague. You would think with it not being on the school rooftop you might be able to pinpoint it, but I got nothing. If you know where these trees are, write them down in the comments. Then probably comes my favorite shot of the trailer with everyone doing this reaction to probably something that Rentaro said. I didn't recognize it at first, but after rereading his name for this video, there it is, right at the end of the chapter. Now more montage. We get a shot of Iku playing baseball, and this is where I admit that I completely forgot that Iku played pitcher. But this doesn't look like to me like it's from the game chapter itself. I'm thinking this might be part of an extended flashback when Iku is talking about her team before they left her. Then comes the confirmation of the karaoke chapter, to both my surprise and delight that that chapter is being made into the anime. Since this is also most likely a half an episode segment, which gives me hope that the I Love 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 You chapter will be its counterpart, which I sadly figured might have been cut for time purposes in my original predictions, but this gives me hope. We need that legendary scene. Next up, a shot that is very much from the Soaking Maid Party chapter, or at least I hope it is, which is another surprise by me that's making into the anime, but this shot in particular is completely anime original. The closest I could find is this shot, and even then it's barely close. So that's promising that they went all out on the water gun fight to make it as epic as possible with a bunch of cool action shots. But unlike this shot of Maid, the next one showing Karune and Kusuri in their maid outfits all wet is completely taken from the manga shot for shot. Next couple of segments are directly from the manga, like the shot of Mimi, everyone sleeping as babies. The last one though I thought was maybe anime original, but I couldn't figure out where it would be. After pulling out my non-existent hair, I realized they weren't in their school uniforms, and the fact that Kurumi wasn't a part of the throb scene, so that narrowed my search. And I found it in the middle of the food eating competition, particularly shot for shot right here. Then what should be one of the easiest panels to find isn't a shot for shot, and it's this one of Rentaro blowing on a whistle. One would think it's from the baseball training, but I never saw Rentaro once use a whistle during those chapters unless I completely missed it because I was just kinda glancing through it. Hell, I even went as far as the actual baseball game itself and I couldn't find anything. Even when Rentaro called timeout, he just yelled it out, not blowing a whistle. Then add on top of this Rentaro's clothes. This doesn't look like his school uniform, nor the clothes that he wore during the baseball training. Notice the lack of a stripe on the sleeves. So unless Rentaro blew a whistle during some gag in another chapter that I'm completely forgetting, I can't find where this comes from. Who knew this would be the hardest one to find? Next up we get a montage of a bunch of scenes from Kurumi's introduction chapter, as well as the food eating competition. After some title cards we get a shot of Rentaro catching the baseball from the end of the game, which leads to one of my favorite shots of the manga, so I'm highly looking forward to that. Another shot of Rentaro at the food eating competition, and at the very end here we get another shot of Rentaro surrounded by cherry blossom trees, much like that earlier shot we couldn't figure out what it's for. These two are probably connected, and now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if these might be used in the recap as part of the first episode. And lastly, we get the shot where I deduce in my reaction video that it's from Mei's introduction chapter. Originally thinking it was from when Mei opened her eyes, but is actually the reaction to everyone realizing Mei has fallen for Rentaro much like they did. So what I find interesting is how the trailer pulls from probably like 3 to 4 episodes, maybe 6 at best, with only some snapshots for the rest, like the baby chapter and anything with Mimi and Mei. Any kind of actual scenes are from early on with Kurumi or Iku or a little bit of Mei, which I find kind of cute that they are kind of hiding Mei as being a girlfriend and instead treating her as a different side character in the trailer. Spoilers by the way. This really makes me question how the episodes will play out given what chapters they have confirmed will be adapted. So much so that I don't even know if I want to make a prediction. Maybe I'll save that for trailer 2 where hopefully we see a bit more of the back half of the season. At least I hope they show more. But it is crazy to think all of these are probably within the first 6 episodes, except for like the shots of Mimimi and maybe the karaoke chapter because that's a little bit later too, after the baseball arc. And that will do it for my full breakdown of the trailer. Let me know if you spotted anything else. I've been Moonlight150, and I will see you all for trailer 2, hopefully sometime in December, and also the manga chapter reviews on the channel that you will see by subscribing. See you all next time.